like that would be the biggest thing, is just to learn to trust yourself. And I know that feels big and it feels hard and it feels scary. There's
Mhm.
not really a magic formula to that piece. My
Yeah.
program has a lot of facets to it that can get you there,
Yeah.
but we all have this inner knowing and it's free. It's this
Right.
GPS inside of us. And I'm very confident that if we could all just go back to the person we were as a child,
I
we would
know.
be totally okay. And we'd have such a good time.
Welcome to the That's Where I'm At podcast. I'm Laura, happily divorced after spending years with a narcissist. I believe keeping secrets will make you sick and that they always come to light in the end. As women, we're often told to be quiet, don't share your story, don't talk about the things we go through. It's making women sick, sad, and suicidal. We don't have to be on the other side to share our story. This show is for the women still in the middle of the mess, but showing up bravely as they heal. It's time to share these stories with each other so we can learn, grow, and heal together. I'm Laura, and that's where I'm at. Please take note that this episode may contain subjects that may be triggering to certain listeners. Please take care when listening today. Hi, guys, and welcome back to the That's Where I'm At podcast. Today I have Vanessa. Vanessa is known as the no bullshit empowerment coach that helps women reinvent themselves so that they can step into their power and the next chapter of their lives. Welcome, Vanessa. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here today.
I'm glad you're here. I'm trying to read stuff on the screen and I feel like an old lady. I don't know to grab my glasses. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm having such a hard time reading. But anyway, I'm so glad you're here to talk about what you do, like as an empowerment coach. And I know we've talked about that you have kind of an abusive past, right? You've had some abusive relationships. And so tell me why you got into empowerment coaching.
Yeah. So it really stemmed from my development into becoming an overachiever, right? Somebody who sought a lot of validation and needed to seek that praise and approval from people. And that really stemmed from my childhood. I had a very, I guess, tumultuous relationship with my father, who had these really high expectations for my sister and myself. And it was all about straight A's and performing and being involved in extracurriculars. And so I know that's where that stemmed from me. My sister went the introverted route because of that. I went the extroverted route. So when you're an extrovert, then you're looking for all of this validation and approval from external sources. And so I found myself in a career for 18 years, 18, 19 years. It was the one I started in, but I was good at it. And I continued to build up and get promotions. And so I thought that was the natural trajectory for my life. But then I just discovered that I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. And the directive I always got from my parents, because they want you to be safe, is, well, this career has always been really good for you. It's kept you safe, pays your bills. You should stick with this. And I had to fight with that a lot. It was this pull and this calling to be and do something else. And so I had to learn to utilize skills that I learned from my mom, which was to empower myself to, fix my own things in my house and not rely on men for things. And I was like, how can I take these tools and use it to my advantage to get myself where I want to go? Because I'm a firm believer where if you're not happy in a situation, whether it's a relationship, a career, friendship, whatever it is, that you can get yourself out of that, but you've got to learn to set that validation piece aside, which is really hard. And so once I was able to do that, that transformed everything for me. And I was like, I have to teach this to other women, because we all struggle with that in some way.
I want to talk about like when you feel like you're in a place where you're not happy and you want to go, right? And you have well-meaning people around you saying, but it's a good job and this is safe. And I've just had to learn over the years that it's filtering through their own fear, right? And their own beliefs. And that doesn't mean it's right for you. So we have to unpack that, don't we? Maybe the people around us are well-meaning, but that doesn't mean it's right for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it really comes from a place of every generation is different. We all grow up with these different experiences. And so even, my parents lived a different life than what my grandparents lived and had a different perspective on it. And so it's just a matter of shifting that. And I think the most difficult piece around that is that we trust our parents, especially if you have a good relationship with them and you lean on them for guidance. I am that person. My mom's actually in the next room right now, and I know she can hear this, but I am this person who will still call her and be like, hey, I'm at the grocery store right now. Where do I find this?
Yes.
Right. When I could easily ask someone who works there. Right. And so we trust our parents in that way to always have the answers. And so it can be really scary, but we have to remember that we have this compass and this intuition inside of us to know what is best for us, because we are living in a different time. We do have all these new experiences, and we're still an individual. So just because we're being taught to be and do a certain way, and that life is best and safest this way, doesn't mean that that's the route that we have to go. We have to learn to trust ourselves before we trust anybody else.
Right. So when people are coming to you for coaching, where are they at in their life? Because that's a big thing to say, yes, I'm ready to change my life and I want to be able to trust myself. We may not even realize that's what we need to do. So where are they at in mindset when they're coming to you?
Yeah. So they are really of all walks of life, but they're at this place where they're kind of stuck. They feel like they're in limbo, and they've reached this point in life where they're like, I can't do this anymore. And I have these ideas, I have these like niggles and these pulls in different areas that feel like I want this, but I can't make myself move.
Right.
So I'm here to make a decision, but I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. And I'm not ready to trust myself, whether it's letting go of too much on my schedule or explaining to friends and family, like, hey, I actually don't want to be the CEO of this company that I've been running for 20 years. And I actually want to work part-time on Zoom and travel the world. And I want to do it by myself. And, so they're in this place where they're just in limbo, and they're starting to explore, but it feels really big and scary.
Yeah. Well, I could definitely see that. That's so interesting too, because, to trust ourselves, we have to cut out all those other voices, right? Because if we're worrying about what's so-and-so going to say and all those things, like we were saying before, even the well-meaning friends. But what I've been learning doing some healing work is that some of the voices in my head aren't even mine. It's like, whose are these? And so,
right.
So are you like weeding through some of that stuff when they're trying to learn to love yourself, to learn to trust yourself, right? Are you having to weed through some of those voices?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we grow up as kind of the don't speak unless spoken to, right? Like be the good girl, be agreeable, you take care of people. And I still think in this day and age, it's still very much that way. Like we're just kind of bred to be the nurturing person and to always put ourselves last.
Yeah.
And so many of the women that I coach are also achievers and are high producers. And so the first thing that we go through is the fact that, like, job aside, focus aside, this validation that you're looking for, you always come through for yourself. Like, who is the person at the end of the day who's there?
Yeah.
It's you. Who's the person who puts the food on the table? That's you. Who's the person who takes you shopping and buys you clothes or pays for your trips? Or who's the person who is there with you 24/7? It's you. So there's nobody who knows you better than you do. And that's, I think, the biggest reframe once I get women to actually see that. And they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You're right. Like I have my family and I have my friends, or maybe some of us are feeling like we don't have that right now, depending on where you're at in life. And that's okay. But the person that you have is you from the moment you're born until the moment that you die. And so you really got to learn how to be your best friend. And that's the best place to start.
Yeah. It's so true. I like the idea of really just trying to figure out, what do you want? What really digging down into those dreams, but sometimes it does take getting quiet, right? And figuring out those kinds of things and looking at that you can trust yourself. Look at the things you've done and you can trust yourself. Okay, so when you were doing this journey, so what do you like? What came out of that for you? Like, what kind of epiphanies were you having that you're like, I got to share this with anyone? Like, what did that feel like for you?
Yeah. I mean, the easiest word is empowering, which I know is
Yeah.
funny because I'm an empowerment coach. But really, once I learned that I can trust myself and I
Yeah.
started to respect myself, which I think is a lot, not
Yeah.
that self love isn't needed, but self respect is so much more powerful because
Yeah.
you can develop a deeper self love and you're
Yeah.
treating yourself then like a friend, right?
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah.
kinder to yourself, it was like all of a sudden there was more energy. It felt like
Yeah.
there was more time in my day because I was leaning into my own intuition and I was exploring things that I never thought that I would be interested in. Like I had never considered coaching
Right.
before I got to this point, and I just started sharing my journey online.
Yeah.
I just started posting photos. I wasn't even showing up on video, and all of a sudden I got these DMs and they're like, "Hey, are you a coach?" I was like, you know what? I don't know, but that
I
actually
don't know.
sounds
Maybe.
like, you know what? You might be onto something there, you know? And so it's really just about, again, trusting and empowering yourself, but allowing yourself to play in that space of
Yeah.
uncertainty because we can choose when we're in this uncertain space, which is the thing that
Hmm.
holds us back. Like, is this scary? Or can we reframe that and can we
Hmm.
make it exciting? Because really, those two
Right.
emotions feel very similar.
Yeah.
It's really a choice.
And that's the thing that people don't understand is that actually trying things and even failing at them is actually great for your new neural pathways. You're building your brain. It's
Yeah.
actually good for you. It makes you feel better, even though we've been taught that failing is so bad, but it's like, it's okay. In my toxic relationship, failing wasn't allowed. You know what I mean? But now it's like I'm trying so many new things because when you are in a new stage of life or you're coming out of abuse or something toxic, or you're making a life switch, right? You're completely changing your life. I'm trying new things and I'm like, and it's okay. Cause my friends are like, what, you're going to try that? I'm like, yes. And I don't know if I'll like it. And maybe I won't. It's like, okay, but we haven't been societalized to allow that really. We're seeing the end
Yeah.
result a lot of times, even on social media, we see the highlight, we see the end result. That's why I like to hear like stories from the Olympics and stuff of like everything they had to go through to get to that point. It's like, it wasn't just today. They didn't just wake up like this, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a hard thing. And I'm sure that you're talking about that with others. Maybe are you working just with women? Are you working with everybody?
My focus is women. I
Yeah.
heavily attract women, but if I have worked with men in the past and
Yeah.
I've been able to do the same for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you brought up what you just did because the way that I like to reframe that just for your
Yeah.
audience, if you're feeling that way, is it's the failure is kind of like learning to walk or learning to ride a bike, right? When we're
Yes.
little, nobody's like, oh my God, stupid kid, you fell, like figure it out, figure out how to stay on
Right.
your bike, figure
Yes.
out how to walk, right? It's like, no, 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 that's okay. You did fail. Technically, you fell, but
Yeah.
get back up and keep going. And we've got to learn to be that nurturing, like parent figure for ourselves in that way, because
Right.
that's how you grow and how you continue to develop is to be okay with that failure.
Right. Exactly. Well, and in society, I think you're right. When we were talking before about we've been societalized as women to be the good girl and do the right things. And, this kind of going back to even what we were talking about before, because that's something that I've noticed is that doing all the quote unquote right things doesn't always get us where we want to go if we end up in a place where we're miserable.
Right.
But then sometimes we might be called a bitch if we like give our opinion or if we decide, well, I don't want to do this, or maybe we're ungrateful. You don't want to be the CEO of a company? No, I don't. I mean, I left my career as a speech therapist and now I'm a podcaster. Like I've never been
Yeah.
happier in my entire life. You know what I mean? And it's like the freedom to make a change when you're not worried about what other people are going to say has been really empowering. And I'm sure you're seeing that kind of stuff with the people who come in and like, I thought I was doing all the right things, or maybe I should have done things differently or something like that. Are you seeing
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, there's so much fear with women in particular
Yes.
around what are people going to think about me? What are my bosses going to say? What are the men going to say about me? Especially what are the women? I mean, I think we get so in our head about
Yes.
women.
Yes.
And it's even down to when you go out for the night, what makeup am I going to put on? Is what are you wearing tonight? Right. It's like all
Yes.
of these little things rely on society and the people around us. And then we're worried, like, oh, I didn't get the memo. I dressed too casual. Like, what are they going to think of me? Right. And
Right.
so it is something where what I encourage my clients to do is to just practice, first of all, saying no,
Yeah.
like saying no to tiny things that are silly, like
Right.
saying no to a straw at a restaurant,
Yeah.
something simple like that, sending your food back. Like I was in restaurants for a long time, so I like to use the food examples, but
Yes.
it's something like that. If it feels just a little uncomfortable, just do it. Like that's dipping your toes into the water of speaking your truth and leaning into your identity and nothing bad happening. And so
Right.
anywhere that you can insert that, somebody's asking you, can you squeeze in one more meeting today? Nope. I'm sorry, I can't
Yeah.
do that. Right. It sounds like a basic boundary practice, and in
Hmm.
effect, it is. But
Right.
the more you say no, then the more autonomy you're establishing in yourself
Right.
to then not worry about what the byproduct of that is, because you're also training your brain. Oh, nothing bad happened.
Right. That's what I always tell people who don't know how to set boundaries, because that was my saving grace. So we need to talk about boundaries. That was like the ultimate act of self-love for me, was when I learned how to set boundaries, and that I realized that boundaries, because as a recovering people pleaser, oh my gosh, I couldn't tell people what to do. And it's like, that's not boundaries. Boundaries is letting people know this is how you get to me. That if you continue being rude or calling me fat or whatever, then I don't participate in this conversation anymore. I leave the situation, I leave the restaurant or whatever. And you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for people to be mad at you. And that's okay, because somebody calling you fat is okay. It's like they don't need to be your friend anyway. But I
Right. Well,
like that.
that's their problem. That's a whole nother, that's
That's exactly.
an issue in here for them. So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. But I always tell people when I'm talking about boundaries, I'm like, okay, so practice on the easy things. Like you just said, like somebody offers you a straw and you just go, no, thank you. And it's
Yep.
like, guess what? They don't go home at night and go, God, that girl, she was such a bitch.
That lady didn't take my straw.
She
She's
didn't take my
terrible.
straw, because even if they get mad at you, it's not your problem, which is very hard. I remember being in full on people pleasing mode, and that would have been really hard for me. But I tell my friends the same thing, just practice easy things, when you don't know how to
Yeah.
set a boundary.
Yeah. And I think exploring, right? Because we're also
Yes.
each other's mirrors. So
Yeah.
the other thing that I noticed when that was my position, and
Hmm.
that's where I was in my journey, was that I was reflecting that back. So I would
Yeah.
see people saying no, and I would be like who do they think they are? Like getting to say no, like why don't they just show up to this meeting like everybody else, or.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so first of all, that's why I feel that people are going to do that to me, because I'm doing that to people.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
also digging into why is that a problem?
Yeah.
Right. So then
Right.
I'm able to get real with, okay, where did that belief come from in my mind?
Yeah.
And then I started to realize, like, oh, I'm actually jealous because I want to be able to say no. And I don't believe that it's okay
Yes.
because I have to continue to achieve and say, I got it. I got it. Let me pick up all the things.
Oh, I
And
love
so
that.
that was, yeah, that was also the other thing for me that really helped me to reframe and let go when I realized that none of that stuff actually came from me. It was like an autopilot type of
Right.
judgment that was reinforcing my belief.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I remember before I learned what boundaries were, I would say out loud, okay, this was me announcing almost that I needed boundaries. Now I'm looking back, but I would say, like, I'm not sure where I gave you guys permission to talk to me that way, but I don't like it. And my couple of friends or family members, whoever it was, would look at me like, what is, like, you're unhinged. But what I'm looking back, I understand now it was because I didn't know what boundaries were, and I needed boundaries because I didn't like what they were doing to me. They kept
Yeah.
pushing and pushing and pushing. And I didn't know how to say, please don't talk to me that way, because I was never allowed to, right? Especially if we've been taught that, say in our families and in society, really.
Yeah.
But say in our families, we all have roles in our family. I mean, I wasn't allowed to talk, so I started a podcast. I mean,
Good place to start.
it's like, you don't want to hear me talk? Well, I'm going to pick up a microphone. But I mean, it's true. So it's so interesting, right? That sometimes it also comes out in anger, right? Where you feel angry, like you were saying, well, I don't. why do they get to do that? I remember saying that, like, why do people get to say their opinions, but I don't? Because other
Mhm.
people around me would be getting mad when I gave my opinion. But I'm like, but those people get to give their opinion. So it's so
Yeah.
interesting that you said that. So are you pointing that out? Like, because boundaries, I think, is so important. Are you
Yeah.
helping your people with boundaries? Because I think this is like one of the
Yes.
biggest things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't care where we're at in our journey, there's
Yeah.
always different levels to boundaries too. So whether it's
Okay.
basic, like, hey, don't talk to me like that,
Yes.
or it's, I actually need to draw boundaries with myself. Like,
Yeah.
what do like as an overachiever, what does my calendar look like? How can
Yes.
I make
Yeah.
sure that I'm not overextending myself? And I'm
Mhm.
in a season personally right now where I'm launching a second business. So my calendar is a little overextended right now,
Yeah.
but I'm making that choice for a reason. Typically, though, I'll ask myself, okay, now if I'm working full time in my business, I don't want to overbook myself
Yeah.
either with commitments and networking events and friends.
Right.
And I need to draw a boundary with myself and say, okay, what do I need
Right.
as well? Like,
Yeah.
where's the slow down boundary as well? Right.
Yeah.
So there's always so many layers to boundaries.
I've seen different posts that say, instead of saying, on Instagram, because that's like the Bible, where it
Yeah, I
says,
agree.
where it says, have I worked enough to be able to rest? When really it should be, have I rested enough to do my best work? So I took a really long hiatus, like a few months of recording, and there was just times where I just kept getting booked and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, God, this is so annoying. And then I said to myself one day, did you know you can turn off your calendar? Oh,
Yep.
and so I like limited my days where people can actually book a call with me. It's like, what a concept, because I was feeling that way. I was feeling burnt out. And so then I wasn't good for anybody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, but I'm sure you're having to teach, and maybe we can just give everybody permission. You're having to teach that it's okay to do this, to give this, to say, I can take a break. I need to rest. I
Yeah.
need to rest my brain. I need to rest myself.
Yeah. And that's another thing that we're just taught in society, right? Is we live in this world of hustle culture. And especially if
Yes.
you're a woman who is a businesswoman, or even
Yeah.
if you're a mom, it
Hmm.
really doesn't matter, right? We never turn off. And again, that's
Right.
because we're bred to be of service to other people. But you have to give yourself that permission to
Yeah.
just slow down, because, there's that saying, we can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
And it's true, but I don't think we ever take it another layer deeper. We don't ask ourselves, like you said earlier, Laura, like, what do I want? What's going
Right.
to fill up your cup? Because sometimes for some people, laying in bed and having a lazy Sunday fills their cup. For
Yeah.
somebody like me, I can't do that. I would be crawling out of my skin. I need to
Uh-huh.
go and go to the gym and do a dance fitness class.
Yeah.
That fills my cup. I
Right.
need to go out to dinner with family or friends. That fills my cup. So getting
Mhm.
clear on what you want and the things
Yeah.
that light you up, that's what will help you to create that balance that then helps you to build the boundaries. Like, it all builds on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's really funny once you start to pull back and see it. It's like,
Yeah.
how can you not do those things for yourself?
I like that you said, like, there's a laying in bed thing, because that's my jam.
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
or go to the gym. And it's like, I think, even in society, or maybe even inside your close relationships, family, whatever, oh, you laid in bed all day, when that's really what you needed. I needed a lay in bed and read a book or watch Netflix kind of day, because all the other days I feel like I'm going. And that might look lazy in comparison to what your idea of resting is, going to the gym. That doesn't make sense to people, right? But it's
Right.
that being okay, being clear with what you need, right? And being okay with what's going to fill your cup. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I have days where I want a lazy day. Sunday was one of those days for
Yeah.
me. I oversized sweater, even though it's 100 degrees out here. And that
I love
was
it.
that was my main goal for Sunday, was just to lay here and do absolutely nothing. And you can choose to share that with people or not share that with people, because
Yes,
not
exactly.
everybody understands. But again, that goes back to just being okay with being you, because it's really the key.
That's right. So do you have people coming to you to talk about relationships in any way? Like say maybe they want to start dating again or they want to change their relationship or anything like that. Do you have anybody like that that's coming to you to work through things like that?
It's not their primary focus.
Oh, okay.
However, we do have people who we need to discuss that with them, right? We need to teach
Okay.
them communication skills. So
Oh,
I do have a piece that is communication because as you start to get to know yourself more, you
yeah.
slow down, you see the things you like. Some women in my programs want to leave their relationships, and
Yeah.
some of them want to leave their career. Some of them want to do something that feels completely out of character to their significant other. And
Okay.
so they need to learn how to explain, not explain themselves, but
Yeah.
to explain why it's important and why they're making that decision, right? Because the
Yeah.
more we get to know ourselves, once you're in alignment, it's really hard to move back out of alignment.
Yeah.
And so I do teach women how to explain that to loved ones and how to, convey that in a way that promotes support, because that is what
Yeah.
you need when you're making a major life change, no matter what that decision is.
That's definitely something that I saw and I like the way you said that when you're in alignment and then you can't move back out of alignment. And that's a
Really
great way.
hard.
It is. That's a great way to describe it. I haven't heard it described like that. So I really like that because on my healing journey, certain people just started falling away because they didn't
Yes.
understand. So are you seeing that or having to talk about that with people as they're healing and learning new boundaries and really starting to live the life they truly want? Are they seeing things that
Yeah. Seeing
to
things
me
like
it
that.
was the
Yeah.
biggest surprise. That was the biggest surprise to see people falling away from me that were like, I don't know about this new healing Laura. I can't take advantage of her anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you brought this up because it's a major component in
It
what I do and
is.
what I teach. Because
Okay.
this is another major quote that most people listening, I think, will know is that you're
Yeah.
the sum of the five people you spend the most time around.
Yes,
Right.
I
And
love
so,
that.
yeah. And so as you get more clear on what you want, you realize, oh, these people are taking advantage of me, or maybe they
Yeah.
are talking about me behind my back. And you know what? I don't have time for that.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, I actually don't want to hang out with this person. For
Mhm.
me, it was, I don't want to go out and drink on the weekends anymore.
Mhm.
And so those friends fell away from me. And that was just a personal decision, but your
Right.
friends start to change. And so, what the piece that I really want everyone to take away is that that's okay. It
Yeah.
might feel scary, it might feel unsafe, and you might be shocked. I was shocked at some of the people that moved out
Oh,
of my life. I thought that they really understood and saw me,
me too.
and they don't. But you know what also happens is when you move those people out of your life, you make room for the people who are aligned with that person you're becoming. Those are the people that are going to become your cheerleaders and lead you and guide you into this
Mhm.
new version of yourself. So there's so much excitement
Yeah.
around that. And that's really what you want to do anyway. And it doesn't mean that, like, I have best friends that I've been one since preschool
Yeah.
and one since fourth grade, and we're 35. So we've been friends
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they're not on the same journey as me, right?
Yeah.
And so what that means is even though they're supportive, if you have friends like that in your life, they don't have to be eliminated from your life because they're on a
Right.
different path than you. There's still a space for them as long as they're not feeding into that negativity that doesn't fit in your life.
Right.
So it's not to say you've got to cut everybody out, leave them
Mhm.
high and dry, but the people you spend the most time with should be those people that are a fit for where you're going.
And I like that you said that it makes room as people because you never have to break up with anybody. You never have to ask anyone to leave your they just go, because
Yeah.
it's their own decision. Maybe looking at you, it makes them uncomfortable and they don't want to deal with their stuff and you're dealing with your stuff. And without you saying anything, it just things happen and you're just different, right? And not everybody can handle that. They may not be in the same place. And I like that you said that when they start leaving, it makes room for the new people that come in. Cause I have people around me, especially being in the podcast space, and social media space. I have total strangers who are cheering me on every day that in my
Yeah.
DMs and emailing me. And it's so strange because I see people who were close to me who are like, they're not around anymore because they didn't understand. They don't understand what I'm
Yeah.
doing or how I'm healing or whatever. And it's interesting that you say that. So it's been scary and it's been sad, but it's really good on the other side. And that's what's going to happen. And so I don't want to discourage anybody for,
Yeah, well,
no,
if you
really, it's
think about it,
great.
well, if you think about it, if we turned around and looked at where we've been in life,
Yeah.
we would see that there actually have been people cycling in and out of our life
Yes.
as we grow and we develop and we
Yeah.
change anyways. It's just when we put ourselves in this season of intentional change and we're
Yeah.
aware of what we're doing, that
Yeah.
it's more apparent to us, right?
Yeah. You're
Because we
right.
all have a conversation with somebody for the last time. We have our last hangout with somebody for the last time. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't know it. So if you've survived without old circles to this point, then you will survive without the circle now that doesn't
Yeah.
actually believe in you. So
Yeah.
they can move out so you can have an actual squad around you.
Yes, you're right. It just has been the most surprising thing to me. And so it's really on the other side, it's really good. And yes, but that's the thing is, but you're right. Like we have had people coming in and out everywhere, so yeah, I don't know why it's any different other than I feel like I have different clarity and I have a higher level of healing or something. I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why it feels more shocking to me this time around. So, but it's been a really good journey. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to say, I really think that why that is, at least for me, is not only because we're aware that it's happening, but when we're present in the moment with that circle, we really think like, these are our people, this is our tribe. And
yeah,
because we're so close now, like for sure, you're going to support me on my journey.
right.
But when we're different, they're different.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah,
so it does hurt. I would be lying if I sat here and I said that it
I
wouldn't hurt. And you
know.
should just be like, well, this has happened to me my whole life and I just need to get over it.
Right.
No, it's going to hurt, but you move through the pain. God knows we do that in so many other ways. I mean, how many times
Yes.
have we been in the bathroom in a public setting crying,
Yeah.
pull yourself back together like nothing happened and you move on with your day, right? And so
Right.
it's the same. It's no different than anything else we ever do, but it's just our craving for the tribe and the connection, right?
Yeah.
That makes it so difficult.
Well, and I think as women too, we really like that connection. We have many of us do have a lot of people around us, or you have some friends around you. I've had lifelong friends as well, and so it's been great to still have those people around me. So, okay,
Yeah.
so some final thoughts before we say goodbye today. I don't know if you want to leave everybody with a final thought. Maybe not. We'll just cut this part out if you don't.
Yeah, no, I would love to. I mean, we talked about it a lot, but really the key is just trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Like just leaning into who you are. We all know who we are. We are that weirdo when no one else is home, when you've got your music blasting and
Yeah.
you're dancing in the kitchen or you're grooving in your car, right?
Right.
That same person that you were when you were 8 years old. Yeah. So I don't know if I am the only one who walks around acting like my 8-year-old self. I imagine that I can't be. And so that just goes to show that we know who we are.
Yeah.
We hide who we are and we should stop that, right? Because that helps us to lean into our authenticity. And what I've found by trusting myself in that and
Yeah.
getting a little weird when I'm with people that I trust, also in public settings, on stage, on social media, the more people that I attract because
Yeah.
it's how we actually want to be. I mean, think
Yeah.
about the people you follow online. They get a little weird sometimes, right? In a good way.
Exactly. Right.
And so like that would be the biggest thing is just to learn to trust yourself. And I know that feels big and it feels hard and it feels scary. There's
Mhm.
not really a magic formula to that piece. My
Yeah.
program has a lot of facets to it that can get you there,
Yeah.
but we all have this inner knowing and it's free. It's this
Right.
GPS inside of us. And I'm very confident that if we could all just go back to the person we were as a child,
I
we would
know.
be totally okay.
Yeah.
And we'd have such a good time.
Right. No, seriously. It's so true. When I started being myself, like on social media, I attract my tribe because at first I was so worried about, I don't know, being perfect or something. I have no idea. And one of my friends called me out and said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like,
Yes, that's
"Where's,"
a good friend.
yes, she's like, "Where's your like goofy self? Where's your laughter? Where's your," and I said, "I don't know. I'm talking about a really serious subject. Maybe I should be more serious." And she's like, "Nope, she's like, nope, that's not who we want. We need this Laura. And I was like, okay. So it was really, really good that I just needed that little bit of push, that permission. I thought, oh, it's a serious subject. I should be serious. Well, when I'm goofing around and I use humor, because humor heals us, right? It gets those good chemicals back in our brain. So I do talk about it. I call him a clown. You know what I mean? I could say that I was at the circus and those kinds of things. I use humor because it's painful and we got to get those good chemicals back in our brain. So that's what I do. And
Yeah.
and
It makes
my
it fun and relatable.
people are finding me. You know what I mean? So that's why, you got to be yourself because the other goofballs are going to find you.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And I think that that's true for most of us. We don't want to always sit in the pain. There's a time and a place for
Yes.
that. But if we can mix in the humor, it makes it easier to digest, easier to process, and easier to let go of.
Yes. I love that. Where can everyone find you? And we'll put everything in the show notes as well, but where can everybody find you on your website or your social media or whatever you want to share?
Yeah. So the easiest place to find me is on Instagram. My handle is coach.ness. You can find me there. Also, all kinds of information on my podcast as well, which is on a season break right now. But
Okay.
I have a podcast there as well. You can find me on YouTube, on Spotify, Facebook. I'm Vanessa Kavulish. I'll make sure that, Laura, you have the spelling for that if you don't already have it.
Yes, I do. I have it all. And I'll have all the links in the show notes so everybody can just click on it. What's your podcast called?
Yeah, Rebel Rise.
Okay, great. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all that good stuff about trusting ourselves and empowering us. All the good stuff. I really appreciate you being here.
Of course, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing.
Well, thank you so much. And guys, if anything resonated with you today, will you please leave a review on Apple and Spotify? And of course, go to social media, find Vanessa, and leave us comments on social media. I will have social media posts for our episode. And of course, always let Podcast Land know you love us. And don't ever forget your voice matters. So go out there and live the life you were truly meant to live. Thanks again for being here, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today on the That's Where I'm At podcast. Did the story today resonate with you? Do you think others would benefit from hearing the stories we are telling? Please go to Apple or Spotify right now to leave a review so everyone in podcast land will know you love the show. We want to continue sharing stories of hope and healing. I'll be back next time. I'll talk to you then.